second album for Blood Precious, are you all these from Beastmilk is passed behind or is still present in the band?
It's no, it's very much in the past for us, but it's part of our past as well, part of our history, and so we still play the song, some of the songs live, and it still feels like we're on a continuation of that journey that some of us started, a long time ago, and it's still very much part of our history, but it doesn't feel as I don't know how to phrase it really, but it doesn't feel like it's so much of an elephant in the room anymore. And with the last record, I felt like we had a lot of sort of explaining to do, and there were a lot of expectations. And this time around, I think people are giving us a bit more space and a little bit more room for the music to do the talking. And so I'm happy that in a way the Beast Milk thing is sort of behind us. We don't have to. We don't always have to discuss it.
Great. We could say that there is no bad blood between Johan, Palin, and you guys now.
I don't know. We can't really say that. No. So no, it's not. We don't have a relationship with him.
All right, no worries. Well, let's get into Motherblood then. On the press note, they still call you post-punk or dead rock. So, do you agree that these can go on now with Motherblood, or do you think that something has changed in some sort of way?
No, I think it's if I had to describe what we do, I guess I would say that it's post-punk music, but that's to describe what kind of music we play. For me, it's rock music. It's whatever you'd like to class it as when you listen to it. But people love to have genres, So if I have to pick a genre, then it's that. But I think our influences are very wide, and you can hear that on this record. That while it's got some roots in the post-punk scene, there's a lot of different styles in there. And so I would like to think that people from all scenes would give us a chance and would have something to have interest in what we do.
Right. Is Motherblood a continuation of Dream Crash, or is two different entities? How do you see it? How do you conceive it?
I think it's another chapter in the story of kind of what I started when I started doing Beastmilk. It's where I wanted to go, and the story I was telling. I wanted to make reactionary music to my past in black metal, and I was looking for an outlet to concentrate on songs which had a lot more of my influences from growing up. A lot of my 80s rock and death rock and gothic rock and all kinds of influences, and also not be afraid to be embracing pop music and surf beats and things like that. So it's a mixture of that and a mixture of influences, if you like.
Right. So Jaime Gomez Arellano, during the production on this album, he works with such different bands between the metal spectrum, like Paradise Lost, or he also works with Ghost or Cathedral. So did you choose him because of his versatility with the bands, or for something else?
Yeah, for a lot of reasons, but we worked with him before. Both myself and Johan Van Halen. Johan Van Halen made a Oranzi Pazuzu record with him. I made a Hex Vessel record with him. And so we both knew him, and we wanted somebody that we were very confident about, who we knew we wouldn't have a sort of a problem with. We just felt would kind of become another member of the band, and as we were working in the studio, would have creative ideas. We're not going to have any worries of any personal disagreements or in not sort of agreeing when we come to the final product. We just knew that he would kind of be on that journey with us instantly. So it wasn't even a question. When we started writing the album, it was, as we started writing, we were like, Gomez has to do this record. It felt very much like his record. We knew him very well. I've also talked with him about doing Beastmilk way back when we were going to do this second Beastmilk record. We had been talking with Gomez. We met him in London and visited his studio. So he's been on the cards with us for quite a long time. and it felt really good to record with him. I think the fact that he's done so many diverse recordings is really great, because it means that he doesn't come with any preconceived notions or any like sound set up. You know, you don't go to him and order a sound that you kind of pick out of a catalog. He just makes the sound that's right for the band that he's working on, and he's very musical. Being a musician, he has a lot of creative ideas as well. So yeah, it was a good choice, I think.
Great. So before you mentioned Juho Van Hanen, which his presence is very noticeable on the record. Was an easy choice when you were looking for new members that he was the one?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a member of the band since we started Dream Crash. He played on the Dream Crash
Yeah.
album, and he played on all the tours around it. So he's already been there. I think because he wasn't in the band photos, people thought he wasn't part of what we were doing, and thought he replaced our guitarist Linnea. But he's always been there. So he just stayed when Linnea and Uno left the band, and came into more of a songwriting role with me. So yeah, it's I don't know, bringing him on was a no-brainer. I know him from living in Tampere. He lives in the same town as me. He's a great artist with Oransi Pazuzu. They're one of the first bands I saw when I came over here, and I was blown away. And wanted to meet the guy and get to know him. And collaborating has been very easy. It's just felt very free, and I think we've always wanted to work together closer. So this record, I think you can hear a lot of the excitement that we've gotten out of collaborating together, and you can hear that in the music.
Right. So, with Motherblood, do you think that you are entering a new ground here? You are giving something new to the musical genre, or do you think it's just a tribute to your influences?
No, I think we're influenced by stuff, but it's only to create, what we do. So, and I wouldn't do what I do without having a story to tell. So I think what we're doing and the way that we're doing it, I believe is something that has artistic credibility. But that's not something I feel I have to prove to anyone. We just make it, and I think the act of making it gives it its validation. And I think that a lot of the work, especially on this record, sets it apart from its influences, because I think there's a lot of sound clash and a lot of music style clash on this record in particular, which for me feels very fresh. There's a lot of pop on this record, and then there's also a lot of atmosphere and some quite epic melodic moments. Certain tracks, like Atomic Christ and stuff like that, which I feel I don't really hear in music these days. So I know that when this record comes out, that's going to set us apart, and I know that it's going to be something that people will comment on, because I'm a big fan of music, a big collector of music, and I'm always of the feeling that you shouldn't do something musically unless you feel that it has to be said.
Already been saying that. Do you think that fans from Dream Crash or even from Beastmilk will have some negative opinions about the Motherblood? Are you
No,
expecting something
I
like
think
that?
I don't think anybody's going to dislike this record from our fan base. I think that from our fan base, this is exactly the record they would want us to make. So I'm not really. I don't really spend time sort of worrying about that part of things. I just, I hope that it would be given the chance to break out a bit, and that people will give it their time, and that it will build a fan base, because it's still a very underground band. We're still quite an unknown act, so it will be nice that the music spreads out there, breaks out of our scene a little bit. That's the only sort of hope I could want. But I think as far as the fan base is concerned, this particular record, I think it's going to hit all the right buttons, because it has a lot of the same touch points that are part of the better parts of both albums, I think.
Great. But even if you are still an underground bound, since your creation or your coming to the musical scene in 2010, you already got the attention of big names like guys from Throne or Converge. Even Sony was interested in you, now Century Media. What do you think sets you apart from the rest of the bands for example, you should have a lot of friends having bands out there. What do you think separates you from all the bands that are doing something similar to you?
What you mean bands on Century Media
Or
or?
any bands that out there that do you think that could be part of the same scene that you belong to, but what do you think sets you apart from them? To
I
get so
think
much.
we have a lot of trouble to even find a band to that we would partner up with to tour with, because I don't we don't find bands within our genre so easily, you know, or whatever our genre is, because you have sort of like these traditional post punk bands, but they play very 80s referenced post punk, and then you'll have like there's metal bands, but they play very metal music, which we're not. So I don't know. Even if you look at like our related artists on Spotify, for example, you won't really find many bands of the present day who really sound like us there. So I think that's a testament to the fact that we just simply do uh, do have our own thing going on. Only nowadays you have like a band coming out like Rope Sect, who are vaguely inspired by Beastmilk. So I think we were kind of ahead of our time in doing this kind of metal tinged post punk stuff, and still kind of are. The scene is still kind of emerging, I think.